How about those Panthers, eh? They just keep getting away with it. Game 5 of the 2025 Stanley Cup Final is, well, in the history books, and the Florida Panthers have taken a 3-2 series lead over the Edmonton Oilers with a 5-2 victory tonight. The game has wrapped up just mere moments ago, so I'm going to give you my quick thoughts and analysis on what we just saw. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe. If you're coming back to the channel, thanks for coming around again. We're happy to see you. My name is Liam. My friends call me Hammer. And yeah, let's just dive right into Game 5. This is going to be a quick video. The last few, I've been looking at 2 games at a time. This time, just the one. Anyway, Game 5 kicks off with a bit of a slower start. You know, a couple chances for both teams at either end, but nothing too drastic. Not like a few games this series where we get a goal in like the first 30 seconds of the game. If something major did happen in the first little bit of the game, I'll be honest, I missed it. I missed the start of the game because I was down at the Toronto Argonauts home opener. That's right, the CFL season is underway, and I was down there supporting my Argos. Even picked up a sweet replica championship ring. Didn't bring us luck tonight, but anyway, that's a story for another video. No, from what I saw, and you can correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong, the excitement in this game didn't really pick up until about halfway through the first period when Brad Marchand scored to give the Panthers the lead. That's right, Brad Marchand once again his 9th of the postseason and his 5th of the Stanley Cup Final. Brad Marchand has had as many goals in this final as there have been games. A pattern that he would break later in this game, but we'll get there. This guy has just been on an unbelievable tear. Anybody that said, you know, at the start of the season with Boston when the Bruins weren't doing too well, oh, Marchand's looking washed, Marchand's looking, you know, not up to snuff. You've been proven wrong. Don't get me wrong, I am not a Brad Marchand truther. I'm not the biggest fan of the man, especially when it comes to, you know, what he's done to me emotionally. But you cannot deny he is a phenomenal hockey player, and I'll be honest, when he plays for Team Canada, he's one of my favorites. But there we go, Marchand on the board, Panthers on the board, and they build upon it later in the period. Almost 10 minutes later, with about 2 minutes actually remaining in the frame, Sam Bennett would score. There's another guy we've been talking about a lot, another Panther that we've been talking about a lot. He picks up his 15th of the postseason to extend the Panthers' lead to 2. And it's those 2 guys right there, Marchand and Bennett. They're the 2 that I've kind of been hyping up all series long as my picks, I suppose, to win the Conn Smythe Trophy. I kind of went on a tangent in my last video about how, you know, Bennett, he could be the guy to win the Conn Smythe. I'm leaving out a lot of good guys in there. Brad Marchand, Sam Reinhart, Sergei Bobrovsky, kinda, just because he's the starting goalie, but he's not kind of been as electric and in-your-face and noticeable as he was last year. And that's not even counting any Oilers that could win it, because the Oilers are not out of this yet, folks. But anyway, 2-0 Panthers as we end the first period, and it would remain that way until the start of the third period. And I don't mean to skip over the second or completely ignore the second. A couple things happened, a couple penalties here and there, including Leon Draisaitl getting a what seemed to be a controversial high stick, at least based on the reaction of the crowd at Rogers Place. And I said it in my last video, and I'll repeat it again briefly here. The Oilers got to watch their stick infractions. High sticks, trips, slashing. The high sticks in particular, the refs are watching for it, man. I'm not saying the Oilers are reckless with their sticks necessarily, but like I said in my last video, if you know the refs are going to be calling it, pay a bit more attention. Be a little bit more careful. Pay a little bit more mind than you usually would. But it's the Stanley Cup Final. The guys have a lot on their mind, especially a guy like Leon Draisaitl, who, if an Oiler were to win the Conn Smythe, he'd be my pick. But that'll take us into the third period, where if you like goals, this was the period for you. As Florida's lead would increase 5 minutes into the period, courtesy of none other than Brad Marchand once again. I told you he'd be back on the board. His 6th of the Stanley Cup Final. That's now 6 goals in 5 games, and the Panthers are up 3-0. An absolutely incredible goal from an incredible player. I went on earlier about how talented this guy is, and it's on display in this goal. The windmill move over the Oilers' defenseman. We can call that a windmill, kind of, right? He kind of windmilled it. And then just going in to beat Calvin Pickard. It was I hate to compliment the guy because, like I said, my history with him is complicated, but Brad Marchand, I tip my hat to you. That was a great goal. A goal that would not have been possible without the tip of the pass by Eetu Luostarinen in Florida's own zone. Luostarinen makes that whole play happen without him cutting that Oilers pass at the point, sending it up to Marchand. None of that happened, so Luostarinen, you get your flowers too. So now the clock's ticking down. It's 3-0 Panthers. The Edmonton crowd is starting to get a little antsy, and their captain comes to the rescue. Connor McDavid with his 7th of the postseason. He cuts the lead to just 2, and Rogers Place is back up on their feet. They are making some noise. Noise that would be deafened less than a minute later by Sam Reinhart. Reinhart with his 7th of the playoffs. There's another guy that I mentioned it earlier. Conn Smythe conversation. Definitely. There's a lot of guys in this series that could be in the Conn Smythe conversation. This is a series filled with stars. Things settled down from there for a bit. It's 4-1 Panthers. And we continue like that for about 8 minutes when Corey Perry would draw the Rogers Place crowd back into the game 4-2. And that's where I'm starting to get in my head a bit. Okay, the Oilers have the net empty. Knobloch calls the timeout, rallies the troops a little bit. They get set up in the Florida zone. Maybe they can do something here. I've said it all series long. The Oilers' superpower seems to be being down by multiple goals. Obviously, you never want to be down multiple goals in a game. It's not an easy position to be in. Any team with a brain would rather be up by multiple goals. But the Oilers don't necessarily seem fazed by the pressure by it. If anything, they seem to thrive under the pressure of it. So they're set up with about a minute and a half left in the period, and I'm thinking, yeah, maybe they can do something here. It's only 2 goals to force it to overtime. We've seen them do it before in this series. But unfortunately, they would not get the chance. With the net empty, Eetu Luostarinen sends it down the ice. 5-2 Panthers, and this one comes to a close. So where do we take it from here? Well, that takes us to Tuesday night, Game 6 back in Sunrise. That's right, the Florida Panthers will have home ice advantage as they are just 1 win away from capturing back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. But I said it a couple minutes ago, and I will say it again right now, do not count the Edmonton Oilers out. Never count the Edmonton Oilers out. If you want my Game 6 prediction, I've been saying all series long, this thing's going to 7. I'd be a fool to change my mind now. I think the Oilers are going to force this thing back to Edmonton. But once again, if we get back to Edmonton and it is the winner-take-all Game 7, I'm tossing a coin, man. I don't know who wins this series. These are just 2 very good teams that play very well off of each other. I don't know who takes it, but I do think the Oilers have the strength to pull out Game 6. That being said, would I be entirely shocked if the Florida Panthers pulled it off in front of their home crowd? No, absolutely not. I guess we'll just have to wait and see when Game 6 comes at us Tuesday night, and then we can all talk about it after that. Until that day comes, though, thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to leave a comment down below how you think Game 6 is going to go, if you think we're going to get ourselves a Game 7. And while you're down there, be sure to hit like and subscribe. And I guess I'll see you next time.